Hello, hello. Welcome to the IT Hour. It is Friday, May 10th, and we are happy to have you all. This is my first Friday IT Hour of the month, but this is technically our second one. So, welcome, everyone. Thank you for missing me. Don't tell me if you didn't, because I won't believe you anyway. So, thanks for joining
There's
us.
no missing. There was like full-blown separation anxiety. We had to do like a group, like hold hands, do the deep breaths. It was rough.
Group therapy, deep breaths. Okay. Well, thank you for missing me for the time. But thank you, Urvashi, and thank you, Tom, for filling in. Glad you did that. Thanks everyone for joining us. Look at this. The chat is just going off already. Alan, Keith, Charles, let's see, Stephen, Nathan, Kelly. Yes, Kelly, I know it was a whole entire thing. I hear that you were quite on fire last week. So thank you for entertaining everyone. Not that you don't every week, but I hear that you were especially on fire last week. So thanks for filling in the chat, Kelly. And we've got great things going on today. Hey, Rob, thanks for joining us as well. Let's see, we've got Sanisa and Mark. Thanks for joining us. And Dorothy. And I see Frank. Hey, Frank, and Artem and Mike. So we like to just kind of shout everybody out as we can and make sure that they know that they are welcome. And we've got some familiar faces and we've got some new faces today on the IT Hour. So, Ella, welcome back. For those
Hi,
of you that,
everybody.
yeah. Why don't you go ahead and I was going to say who you are, but why don't you go ahead and say that?
Sure. Hi, my name is Ella Rigoulot. I'm the Director of Education and Partner Training here at JumpCloud. So excited to be here today to just kind of go through JumpCloud University, talk to you guys a little bit about it and some of the enhancements we've made. Already great ideas in the chat coming from Keith. And I already slacked our marketing person about making one. So thanks for the idea.
All right. Love it. And Trevor, welcome back. It hasn't been very long. We went a while without seeing you at all, and now pretty quickly you're back
And
again.
now you can't get rid of me. Yeah. Yeah, it's good to be back. As a quick intro, my name's Trevor, product manager at JumpCloud. Known from some of my previous hits, most recently Federation. Here today to talk a little bit about dynamic groups with Tim.
And
I think
speaking
the
of
last
Tim,
time I was here, I was with Trevor too. Like, I don't know, maybe we're just a dynamic duo,
Yeah.
Trevor.
there you go. There you go. And Tim, I believe this is your first time on the IT Hour. Is that right?
This is my first time. Super excited
Yeah.
to be here to share with you guys what we've been working on with dynamic groups. And please don't mind the picture frames; they're always off center.
If
I
you
was
have
gonna say, Charles has said in the chat, we getting triggered here.
Well, Tim, we are very glad to have you for your first inaugural IT hour. Be forewarned. Well, I think Tim was already forewarned in the green room that we get a little bit off topic and silly, but it's all in good fun. But we like to enjoy ourselves here on the IT hour. We sometimes stay on topic, and then other times we have a little bit of fun and talk about odd things. I think we were talking about
My
accents.
chai tea latte.
Yes.
It's a chai tea latte, which is a tea with milk.
Apparently it's
Love it.
glitching.
I
It
know.
must be
It
it
cannot.
it must be like electronic or something because it's glitchy. Wow, look at that. Yes, we were talking
That's
about
bad.
accents and wait, why do you feel called out here, Rob? Oh, because we get a little off topic and get a little bit silly. I did not call you by name, Rob. I was actually talking about us, but I mean, if you feel included that way, then yes. Rambunctious is a good word, Kelly. We do sometimes get rambunctious. Our chat is always very active and fun. So we have a lot of good comments, and a lot of times they're useful too. And many times they are not. And that is what we love. So uh, with that, yes, Charles, accents. We were talking about Southern accents versus not Southern accents and how they vary a lot in the South and other places. So there we go. We'll leave it at that. Today we're going to talk about community as always. We're going to talk a little bit about what's going on there. And then we're going to jump right into all the updates we have. We love having lots of guests and we've got a lot to talk about. So I will jump right into the community stuff so we can move on to the main event. So Paul in our software and hardware forum is asking about Rancher and SSO integration, returning a 403 error. So if you have any advice on that, please go over and talk to him a bit. And Lynn Hall is asking about preparing for the JumpCloud core exam. It's perfect that you're on here, Ella. And basically, they just want to get some advice on the best way to prepare for the core exam. Maybe should they be taking a test, like a prep test or not? I know Urvashi had mentioned that she took like the pre-test. I think just going through the course, making sure you go all the way through the course very thoroughly is the first step you should do. But if you want to take the practice exam, make sure you do that. But those of you who have already gone through taking and passing the exam, go jump in and say what worked best for you. That's that would be helpful as well. And Ella, if you have any great advice.
Yeah. I love depends on how long you've been using JumpCloud. You're brand new. I would suggest probably going through the courses, taking a look at the course content, the practice. I'll put the study guide link here in chat in just a moment. But to me, that's the best way. Just kind of dip your feet in. If you've been using JumpCloud for a little bit while, take the practice test, see how you do, see how you score, and then it'll actually tell you the areas that maybe you're not scoring super high in or the areas of opportunity. Then go in and take those courses in our learning path so you don't have to jump in and take all of them. And then go through, and then when you're ready, you can sign up and take the core assessment. Get 3 opportunities to do so. So, and there's always it'll always tell you the areas where you're scoring less in for you to go back and review. So good luck, everybody. Love to hear any other thoughts people had.
Yeah, that link the link to that conversation will be in our show notes, but it's also on the community, again, under the product discussions. And please feel free to chime in on that. We would love to hear your best tips for helping Lynn Hall pass the exam. And then we have a new script by Vinsec. So Vin, thank you for adding, I think that might be your first script in there. It's about deleting a registry key from the logged in user account using JumpCloud commands. So thank you for doing that. And Urvashi dropped in the transcript for getting your Windows apps straight from the Microsoft Store. So we put that in there so you can go back and...
Yes, I know I'm a few weeks behind, but I'm going to catch up. I swear I'm working on it. Okay, sorry, bye.
That's okay. We like to put those transcripts in there, and please let us know if you have looked at those and if they're helpful. We do that so you can more easily find a topic we have talked about. Like if you're looking for a specific piece of a show, you can go through and search and find those more easily. And then you can hone in on exactly what we said and where. You can also just go through the videos, of course, but we're trying to make it a little easier for you by going directly through the transcript. Okay. And with that, I'm going to hand it over to Ella to go ahead and talk a little bit about what's been going on with JumpCloud University.
Thanks, Becky. I appreciate it. And since we have an active chat here today, just want to, how many of you actually have JumpCloud University accounts? I'm going to just kind of let me know, share in chat. Yes, you have one, or no, you haven't logged in and created an account before. Feel free to go ahead and let us know.
We have an official poll.
Oh, you do?
The poll,
you did make
the poll is
All
visible.
right. Okay, great. So yeah,
And
let
it's
us know
already
with the poll.
So on the right side, underneath the question mark speech bubble is the poll.
Yeah, about 50-50 there. Okay, great. I'm giving another like couple seconds or so, but it looks like most of us now we're predominantly moving towards more of us having JCU accounts, which is great. All right. Still kind of 60-40-ish kind of percent coming in. So, well, thanks for your guys' kind of keep letting us know in the poll or in chat your thoughts. But I'm going to talk about some specific enhancements. So it's really, we are a product-led growth company. When at JumpCloud University, we and my team works extremely hard to work with people like Trevor when we come out with our content and our feature releases and product releases to make sure that our content is up to date. But it is a heavy task. So we've done surveys. I think I presented in December about a survey we did. At the end of all of our courses, we have surveys as well to kind of get satisfaction scores and hear from all of you about what you want and what you're looking for in JumpCloud University. And a lot of our feedback this last year was about just where do I start? Organization, kind of making it a little bit clearer. So we listened to that. And we developed in the first kind of quarter is we did some enhancements. So I'm going to go through and walk through some of the enhancements and features and changes that have happened to JumpCloud University based on a lot of your participant feedback. So if you haven't joined JCU, please do give us your feedback. We'd love to hear more. If you have taken courses in JumpCloud University and provided us feedback, thank you, because we really do, listen to what you're looking for. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And as you can see, we have our homepage here, a couple little just design enhancements that we've made. We no longer see our friendly owl, but that's okay. We've got a nice kind of logo here with our university sign. As you can see, I'm going to talk a little bit more about the advanced certification campaign going on in a bit, but I'm going to hide that pop-up. We have these really great new self-guided onboarding courses. These are awesome if you're implementing or self-guiding or you have someone new to your company. So you're an MSP, a partner, you got somebody else coming on board, have them take a look at these onboarding courses. And they really walk you through kind of the steps to learning how to implement JumpCloud. The next thing, we've got our feature content. So anytime we have new courses, we actually have a new software management course that's going to be out at the end of this quarter. Super excited about that. We're going to have them in that feature content. So if you've taken JumpCloud University courses before, you visit that homepage, take a look at our feature content because there might be something new there that you haven't seen or haven't taken. So take a look at that. And one of the biggest things we listened to all of you guys about is the learning paths. They were a little bit more kind of focused back when JumpCloud was a couple years ago and where we were as a product a few years ago. So we've adjusted these and we've adjusted them kind of for areas of product focus. So kind of we've got the foundations of JumpCloud, again, brand new, kind of just what is JumpCloud courses. They're foundations of Open Directory, really great for new employees you might have coming in underneath you or at your company, learning about JumpCloud. And then we've kind of focused on identity management courses, device management, access and resource management. So those areas of the product that you guys might be looking at or utilizing more, definitely we've put all of our courses that go around those content, whether they're foundational or advanced topics, in those specific learning paths, production readiness, security and compliance, and troubleshooting courses. And then of course we have our certifications. Our core certification learning path and the advanced certification learning path. Those are still the same there, but really definitely free. I know our certifications do cost money at this time now for the actual assessment to be certified, but we are constantly maintaining these courses, updating them when there's releases and feedback, updating our questions. So if you took the certification in 2021, probably the questions are extremely different than now. So highly recommend that you guys take a look at those and update them and keep your certifications fresh. Any questions coming in the chat around just like the homepage, the learning paths before I go into some of the other enhancements that we've made?
We are actually currently talking about how the best way to learn is to set a laptop on fire and then rebuild it from scratch. So that's how you really get into the details.
Yeah. Well, I'm like super big on hands-on learning. And with my team, I'm always like, how can we encourage them to like go in the product and now do this, and it's something that, I would love to see an ability for us to have like a lab environment, not there yet, but something, we would love to be able to do. And it's because I do think hands-on learning is the best way. And then, or having that second machine, that virtual machine there where you can go in and kind of practice there. So I agree with what's going on in the chat. All right, other enhancements. So when you go to your dashboard now, so I'm going to go into my dashboard as a student. There's now a searchable feature here, and now you can actually see progress, visual progress, for your, sorry, I didn't mean to click on that. This is what happens when you live demo. Visual features. So you can see here, like I've actually passed my partner sales certification exam as a student. But here, when it comes to the self-guided onboarding path, I'm only 35% complete. So maybe I want to go back in and complete that or track. So a lot of people weren't really sure which courses they've completed, where that status was. And now that's super nice and visual for you there with that little icon at the top. The other thing is you can actually see here your learning paths that you are registered in, which ones you have in progress, which ones are not started. And then we have this really great new searchable feature. So you can, let's say you want something on ADI, you can search that. And now we have like a course that will have the ADI content in it, or we talking about that. So awesome new searchable feature. If you are a partner, we do have partner learning paths that are gated behind the content, and please reach out to your account manager if you don't have access to those. The other feature that we've enhanced are on our resources page. So we've got the tutorials. We have some really, really, really awesome simulations and end user resources. Same kind of thing. I'm going to go ahead and go to the end user resource page just here. We get a lot of questions about how you train your end users. We are considering and looking at different things, and I'd love to hear more about what you guys might be looking for here. But if you're an IT admin, you want to train your end users on how to use JumpCloud and the user console, we've got a lot of information here with that. And you'll have a little visual that will show you if it's this kind of yellow with the little person, that means it's end user content. That means that you could show it to your end users. You can put it in kind of an onboarding plan or information around JumpCloud. Same thing is that we do have the features here, the searchable features. We've also integrated our help center for that. So you can click here and like, oh, I just want to see help center articles. So you don't have to go to support.jumpcloud to actually then find that too. It's already here. You can say, oh, I just want to look at the simulations that are end user content. And then, of course, we have our end user guide. So you can see that you can filter by those different things. You can search by topics. So it just makes it a little bit more user friendly and ability to kind of find your content and find exactly what you're looking for and see if we have it on JumpCloud University. And all of that, those same features are available in the tutorial view, simulations view, and the end user resources guide. So great. Oh, thank you, Sam. That's great. Really great to hear that you're using that for your onboarding process. Awesome. All right. And last but not least, we have now, I think the last time I was here, I talked about Credly. And I'm going to go ahead and put in the chat a little post on LinkedIn that shares our Credly video and announcing that. But those of you that are certified or want to get certified, you now have the option to be able to post that to Credly as well and share your skill sets, add your badges to your Credly profile if you have one, or create one if you don't. So super excited about that. And because of that, we are discounting the advanced certification. So if you have not taken the advanced certification, it is now 50% off. So it costs the same amount as core. Definitely go in and take that, take a look at it. Love to get more people certified. Love to hear your feedback. Definitely Keith's idea. I'm going to see what we can do about adding that t-shirt. So if we do get those t-shirts and JumpCloud t-shirts for new certifications, there'll be a pop-up on our homepage about it. So thanks for that idea, Keith, and we'll see what we can do there. Any other questions about JumpCloud University, changes, feedback? Would love to hear it. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. Looks like we're still just really excited about some swag.
Yeah, I think the other t-shirt idea was everyone has a test environment. There are a privileged few whose test environment is separate from production. I think that might also make a good branded t-shirt.
Yeah.
It's like the one about the Mac OS has a built-in screen reader. A lot of Mac admins like that one too.
Yeah. Kelly, great question about renewing. We don't have a full renewal certificate just because, to be honest, we didn't have an audit process in place to ensure we were updating our certifications effectively. Now that is in place. So you'll probably start seeing more like renewal information, kind of recommendations for renewal. We do recommend that you retake our certifications every 2 years at this time. But a new renewal actual kind of process and really very clear strategy for that will be coming out next year. Now that we know for sure we are maintaining, keeping our certifications up to date, keeping our content up to date when we work with like Trevor and Tim and other teams for product release content and figuring out which cert they go with. So more to come on that. But again, if you haven't taken a core in 2 years, definitely highly recommend that you take it again and talk to your account manager if pricing is an issue. I'm happy to talk to you about vouchers through that, especially if you're a super engaged customer and really wanting to jump in and learn.
Ella, to follow on that, I know we've had this question before about whether or not the certifications expire, or is there a plan to actually have them expire at some point?
Yep, they'll probably expire about every 2 years, starting in 2025. Now that, like I said, we have that kind of renewal. We know as a team, we're doing what we need to do to uphold our certifications on the back end and keeping them relevant. Now that that's in place, then we can ensure that our customers now have a renewal strategy as well. So more to come on that, but great question, Becky.
Yeah.
Right now, it's just more of a recommendation rather than an expiration.
Okay. And Josh wants to know if you have to complete core before you can attempt advanced.
You do not. It is not a recommendation that you have to take core before you take advanced. If you've been using JumpCloud for a while and you're really deep into it, go ahead and take the advanced practice exam. Feel free to do that. You don't need to do both, but it is kind of recommended, especially if you're brand new and you're learning that learning progression. You're doing the getting started. You're kind of doing the core foundational courses. You get your core assessment. You continue to use JumpCloud as a product, and you take a look at those advanced topics.
Okay, and let's talk a little bit about Jonathan's comment here about not feeling like the advanced certification is worth it because by this point you're knee deep into the topics and can read the specifics when needed. What do you think about the reason people should go ahead and take the advanced certification?
Yeah, I think as JumpCloud, we're gaining more and more clients. We're getting more and more logos. We're growing in the marketplace. And I think that the skill set and being able to showcase your skill set that you are certified, you've passed the assessment. Yes, all of our learning is free. And I strongly believe that the ability to go in and learn, take the courses, learn the content and product is something that we will, you're not going to see like me taking an approach that I want to charge for courses because I want that learning to be free. But when it comes to actually showcasing and saying, I am JumpCloud certified, that particular, I feel strongly about that being kind of behind that gated assessment piece to get that certification. So you can gain the skill sets fine, but if you want to start like showcase your skill set, talk to other employers, move to other companies that might use JumpCloud, it's having that advanced certification. I think it gives you that level up there, especially if you're a partner too and want to showcase those skill sets to your clients.
Yeah.
And just to add to that, I've attempted to take the advanced certification, haven't passed it yet. But from what I can tell from the content, a lot of it is also just like great for troubleshooting skills in general. So a lot of it is, like troubleshooting LDAP, troubleshooting like, knowing what ports are being used, what kind of firewall settings. So I think in general, if you are a team that has like quite a few different people and lots of people who are working help desk, I think the certification is a great way to say like, hey, I know this off the top of my head. Like I don't have to go in and look at it. I can like get those tickets cleared up like sooner than later. So I think that could be helpful in that context.
Yeah, thanks for that. And I appreciate, Jonathan, your sentiments on that topic. And Sam's just adding to that, you don't get certs to like learn, like, again, you can learn in product, you can learn on the go, you can go take the courses as needed, you can learn through and look at simulations and content. But if you really want to showcase and share your skill sets and prove that, that it proves that you know it and shares it with others in your network.
Yeah. And you don't have to get a certification to prove that you know something. That's okay. I think that taking like Ella said, taking the course can help you just know it better. But that's okay if you don't want to get the certification, Jonathan. I mean, there's no pressure. We offer it for people that want it, and I think if you are reading the specifics and maybe going through some of the simulations and things, and that's how you use it, that's great. I mean, the course is there for you to dig into it when you need it and access it as you're going along. So hopefully that resource is helpful to you anyway. And you know, later on, if you decide you want it, it's there. But it's half off right now. So if you want to take advantage of that before it goes back up, I mean, now would be a good time. But no pressure. We're just letting you know it's there.
And
No
also,
hard
the
sell.
certification is there for people like me whose entire self-worth depends on how many certifications you have. So, as a former gifted child in school, I measure my self-worth with certifications. So, if you're like me, go get certified.
I'm a badges person as well. I'm an avid Peloton rider. Badges. I love getting all the badges and getting the things and adding them to my profile. Hence, Credly integration. I thought it would be. It's we've been asked for it. We've heard customers. Hey, can we add my cert to Credly? So we've been asked for it for a while, but also at the same time, I totally get that. I get that intrinsic motivation, the ability to share on LinkedIn and other areas like with, hey, look what I've done. So
Yeah.
awesome.
Becky had to check with me like 3 times before she made me an admin on the community because I had like racked up so many like rankings and I was moving on up, and she was like, "Are you sure you're willing to move to admin because it'll take away all of your ranks?" And I was like, "Okay, I can do this."
Yeah.
Ready.
Awesome. Yeah, because then it's a static thing where there's no more like climbing and showing your different accomplishments. I'm like, are you okay?
Hey, but admin is like the top dog badge anyway, so
it is.
that's what I told myself.
Well, it is in the structure. It is literally at the top. Which, by the way, speaking of badges and things, if you do get your certifications, we will also give you a really awesome badge on the community. So if you're also on the community forums, you get an additional badge. And about once a quarter, we will ask for a list from Ella's team, and we will go through and match up on the community. If we can, like if you've used a different email, but we know who you are, we'll match them up and give it to you anyway. So we will do our best to match you. But if you message us and say, hey, I got my certification and I'm on the community as this, then we'll just, cross-check it and give you your super awesome badge. So you could have, both badges on the community if you have both certifications. And it looks very similar to the badge from Credly. And Omar designed both of those, I think. So yeah, it looks really great.
Yeah, thanks, Becky. And thanks for all the stuff about badges too. Actually, spoiler alert, more to come. We are going to be looking at, so we have our certifications, but we are going to be looking at a foundations badge, an onboarding badge. So just a little bit of a spoiler alert coming for those of you that are badge are motivated like myself. Yeah. So more to come. I'll be on here whenever that happens. And if anybody, I'm going to go ahead and transition it to the next topic, but thank you guys for your feedback today. If you have anything that you want to share or that you would love to see on JumpCloud University, we're getting ready to plan everything out for the second half of the year. So would love to hear your thoughts in chat, and I'll gather that. I know Becky will send that over to me too. So thank you guys so much.
Yeah, thanks for coming, Ella, and for those wonderful updates. It's very exciting. And we're planning on talking a little bit more about guided simulations on the community as well, and giving like some overviews of what they are and what's available so that people can find them more easily. So
we have 22 simulations on Federation if you're interested. So please check them out.
Absolutely. Oh, Keith has one more question. Can you get core on Credly now?
Yes, you can, Keith. And you can email if you have not received an email about that from a past certification. Please go ahead and email university@jumpcloud.com, and we'll make sure we get that awarded to you.
Great. Something new to display on LinkedIn. Woohoo! All right. So thank you, Ella. I think you have to drop. So if you need to, then feel free, or you can stay and listen to the rest of it. That's fine either way. And with that, Trevor and Tim, what you got for us around dynamic groups?
Yeah. So we are here, of course, to talk about dynamic groups. We've already done the intros. Why are we here? We're here to talk about new stuff, specifically new attributes and new operators. Oh my. So before we get to the new stuff, I'm going to quickly do a crash course into dynamic groups. We're doing this as a crash course because Derek, I know, has been here a couple times in the past. So if you were not here for Derek's previous presentations on dynamic groups, do go back and watch the recordings. He's done a lot of great overviews there. I know he's posted in the community as well. So lots of great info out there from Derek on dynamic groups. But I am going to do a quick crash course just to make sure we're all on the same playing field before we talk about the new stuff. But real quickly, do go back and watch the previous content as well. So crash course starting now. What are dynamic groups? Dynamic groups is a user that has attributes. You go and set some rules on a dynamic group known as attribute conditions, and the combination of that attribute on the user and the attribute condition rules that you set make that user group dynamic. So you can think of it as a smart group or an automated group or a magic group. Basically, you go and set rules. You decide who should be in that group, and we put them in the group. On the device side, very similar. You have a device. That device has some attributes like the host name, the OS, when it was created, etc. Cool. Those exist in JumpCloud. They're managed. You go to the group. You set some rules, some attribute conditions to decide which one should be in the group. And then all of a sudden, that group becomes dynamic, automated, smart, and all the groups, all the devices that should be in that group get put into that group automatically forevermore. That is dynamic groups in a nutshell at a high level, going in just a little bit deeper. So how is that working? So what's triggering those rules to run? So the first thing, of course, you create the dynamic group and you set some rules. After those rules are created, anytime those rules get updated or anytime an attribute gets changed, we run the rules to make sure that the group membership is always accurate. So you have a group, you went and you set a bunch of rules. You come in the future and say, actually, I need to tweak that one a little bit. I need to add some more. You add more rules, you change the operators, you change the value on the rules, or you change the attributes on the actual underlying object, whether that's a user or a device. If it's a user, maybe someone changed their job title, maybe they moved to a different location. If it's a device, I don't know, you used to have a Mac and you decide to wipe that thing out and strip it down and install Windows on it. Whatever you do, anytime we change those attributes on those underlying objects, every single time we're going to run the group rules. So that group should be as accurate as possible at all times. So that's what's actually triggering those rules to run and keeping those groups accurate, making sure the people in those groups always have access to the right thing, the devices in those groups are getting the right policies, getting the right command to run on them, etc. What if I need to make an exemption to the rules? So cool, I set up all my dynamic groups, I created a bunch of rules, that's awesome, but I have like a problem child or a problem device that doesn't quite match that criteria. You can always exempt them, both on user groups and device groups. You can go in and add someone to that group with an include. So say you have a rule that it's only your product managers, but you have someone that needs to be in that product manager group, no problem, you can include them. You can also do the opposite. You have someone that that matches that rule, but for some reason they really shouldn't be in that group and you know that, you can always exclude them. When you do that, when you add an exemption, we're basically saying, hey, JumpCloud, ignore the rules and either keep them in the group or remove them from the group. Ignore the rules that are running. Same thing on the devices side. So again, I have a group set up here. It's Windows. The host name contains VM, but I know that I have Trevor's VM down here that really shouldn't be in the group. I can always exclude them, that object, that device from the group, and we'll never put that device in the group. We'll keep it out of that device group. That's exemptions in a quick nutshell. So now that in mind, we have a quick refresher on how this works. What cool stuff can we do with dynamic groups? So on the user side, think about user lifecycle management here. You have your HRIS directory. You import users and attributes from that HRIS into JumpCloud. You go and schedule an onboarding for that user. You schedule their activation. When that user becomes active, in all that group membership, all those rules you set on the groups apply, they get added to the groups, and we're going and giving them access to all the things that are bound to that groups. So really what we're doing is basically from the time they get imported from your HRIS, if they have all the attributes and you've went ahead and done the pre-work to set up those groups, they're automatically getting access to all the resources that JumpCloud manages very automatically. So on day one, they're already able to be productive and get access to the things they need to do their job. On the device side, we're starting to be able to enable device onboarding with basically zero touch through device groups. So you have a device that gets enrolled to JumpCloud. JumpCloud reads all those attributes from the device that exist. You already have your device group rules set up, and they're automatically getting added, getting policies applied, getting put in policy groups, software management applying. They're getting bound to user groups to make sure users are able to access the devices in that group. And again, that's all happening automatically. Those devices are getting configured appropriately based on those rules that you've set up ahead of time. So some cool stuff that we can do there. So there's your crash course. What is new with dynamic groups? That's what we're here to talk about today. So new stuff. Operators. So we have the contains operator, the does not contain, starts with, ends with, and we now offer an or operator and not equals. So all brand new operators that we're now able to offer to you in dynamic groups. On the attribute side, we have user groups, we have the manager, and we have company email. So you can now use the manager. You can set up a group and say all of Becky's direct reports should be in this group. We have company email. And if you pair that with contain, starts with, and ends with, that can be really powerful, especially if you're an organization that maybe has some different divisions, or you're trying to only get users that are using a Google alias email, and we'll get into that in the demo. But two new attributes on the user side. Over on the devices side, we now offer hostname, vendor, and IP. So Tim's going to show some cool stuff that we can do there. But IP address was a big request. I know hostname was a big one. So we now have some new attributes on the devices side as well. So a lot of new stuff. With that, got through all the boy wordplay, all the boring stuff. Let's do the fun stuff. You can see me and Tim fight for our lives on a live demo. So while we're going through this, what I would love while we're demoing, if you could drop in the chat, if you're using dynamic groups today and you're doing some cool stuff with it, I'd love to hear about that in the chat. If you're not using it and your wheels are already turning and you're thinking of cool stuff that you could possibly do, I'd love to hear about those use cases as well. So if you could put in the chat cool things you're doing or you could think of that you could do with dynamic groups, I would love to go back and read those. That being said, I'm going to pop over, and it is now time to do a demo here. So let's walk through some of the new functionality on the user group side. So I'm going to come in, I'm going to create a group, going to click dynamic. And again, you want to click dynamic if you want the magic to happen. Again, as a quick note, you can always request a review of updates, and you can get emails to let you know when those updates happen. That kind of reduces the auto magicness a bit, but it does give you a bit more control because you can go in and manually approve all the updates before JumpCloud does them. I want all the auto magicness to happen, so I'm going to leave that unchecked, and I'm just going to say, JumpCloud, do the hard work for me here. So I am going to come in and let's look at our previous experience if we wanted to set up our product manager group. So before, on job title, we do our equals operator, we say PM, let's hit preview. Cool, here's all my PMs, right? Well, now that we have contains, you'll notice now this list gets a lot bigger because now we're not only pulling in people whose title is PM, but senior PM and junior PM. So now using that contains, we can go look at their full title so you can make the rules a bit more simpler and still be able to capture all the users you want there. Looking at another example here with contains, we could do engineer. So cool, now we're getting all of our engineers, but if we wanted to pair that contains with a department operator, we can now get pretty smart and say, only give me the engineers that are in the engineering department. So you're going to see that security engineer now gets filtered out. So some cool combinations we can do there. Now let's come over and look at our starts with. If we wanted to get only the senior employees, we can do a starts with, which is a new operator we have. We can enter senior. And now we're all getting all the senior employees in the company. So some cool things that you can do there with job title, looking at our new email operator. If we wanted to say, give me everyone whose email contains JumpCloud, and we're going to get this big list of all the employees in our company. But now what if we want to make this a bit more specific? So we could use our ends with operator, and we could do something like JumpCloud Canada, eh? And I have a typo in here. Yep, there we go. There it is. That was on purpose to show you that the rules are very, very smart. They'll only give exactly what you give it. All right, so here's all our users with that are in JumpCloud Canada. So you can, again, hopefully the wheels are turning. You can see some cool things that you could do. If you really wanted to use a starts with on company email and you wanted to get all the Trevors in the company in a group, which would be really dangerous, you can do that as well. Again, going back to our example with contains, if you wanted to get only the users that you know are using a Gmail alias, you can do that as well. And then finally, let's look at the manager attribute here. So brand new manager attribute. If you want to get everyone's direct reports into a group, you can do that. Ignore a little bit of the UI weirdness here as we're working out some of the kinks. But if you wanted to get only Eddie's manager direct reports into a group, here's everybody that reports to Eddie. And you could also flip this around and do a not equals here and get everyone that doesn't report to Eddie in a group. So again, new stuff here on the user group side. Hopefully you're seeing a lot of cool things that you can do here. And with that, I'm going to hand it over to Tim to walk through some cool stuff that we can do on the device group side.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Trevor. Since this is my first time, I just want to reintroduce myself. My name is Tim Song. I'm an engineering manager at JumpCloud. I've been working with the Dynamic Groups team for quite a while, and I'm super excited to show you some of the new capabilities here. Let me just share my screen. All right, perfect. So I'm going to walk through some of the new functionality that Trevor's shared, but I'm going to go on the devices side and talk through those. So let's first start with create a new group. So go down here, set it dynamic. A couple of things that I want to share. Some of the new UI enhancements we've implemented to make the experience a little bit better for you admins. When we first released the first version of dynamic device groups, we allowed you to mix and match any of the attributes available on a device. The problem here was some of these attributes were really tied to a specific OS. So we allowed admins to put their group roles into a bad state. So we took that feedback and we wanted to make that experience better. So some of the things I want to talk through is how we've done that. So if you look at the drop-down list, we do have some attributes that are disabled. Essentially, those are the attributes that are tied to a specific OS. So now those have a precondition. So you need to select an OS first before you can select these. But we're doing this so that we prevent admins from making mistakes and putting their roles into a bad spot. So for example, we've got this distribution, which is heavily tied to Linux. We go in here first, we click equals, we select Linux, the next condition. Now we have the capability to add a distribution into our role. So hopefully this helps make sure that you're building the right roles on the devices side and don't put yourself in a bad spot. The next couple of things I want to talk through are some of the new attributes and the new operators and maybe some use cases for utilizing them. One of the first ones that I want to talk through is OS or version. So everyone who has managed Windows devices understands kind of the pain in how they version or how they number Windows operating system versions. I think everything is labeled 10, even though Windows 11 is available. And so what we wanted to do is give you guys an option to be able to manage that. The one thing that we're providing to help with that is once you have selected operating system Windows, we've got this new version attribute available here. So once we have that with our new operators, like contains or starts with or ends with, you can easily go find all your Windows 11 and all your Windows 10 devices. So if I do a contains, I can do a 10, go down here, look at the preview. Now you have an access to all your different Windows 10 devices, Windows Pro, Home, what have you here. So hopefully that helps with folks in having to manage Windows 10 and Windows 11 and wanting to segregate that demographic of devices. And similar, you can go back in here and do an 11, and you get all your Windows 11 devices. So hopefully that helps a lot of you admins managing Windows devices. The other things I want to talk through are some of the other new attributes that we've exposed for everybody. Hostname is one of them. So like any other organization, when you are naming your devices, you probably have some sort of naming convention, especially if you are managing a fleet of infrastructure. You have some sort of naming convention to kind of identify location of a device or purpose of a device, or maybe an application tied to your server. And so now with hostname exposed and things like contains, you can go and segregate those devices into categories, like maybe your database servers or maybe your application servers, things like that. And so an example here that I like to show is we've got a lot of .local host names. And so using contains, you can go quickly and go find all these servers, add them to a group in an automated fashion. Other ones are like vendor. Like if you want to segregate your devices by by the vendor, Lenovo, Dell, even any of the parallels you have. If you're running Macs and you want to run a parallels for Windows, you can do that too. So with this example, I like to show is parallel. Oops. You can go and quickly find these by vendor. So hopefully that's helpful and gives folks good ideas of how to segregate that. And then the last one I want to touch on is IP address. Like Trevor said, this has been a big request. This is not a true IP range that we're going to be able to provide you up front. That's something that we're talking through. But there are some simple things that you can do with IP address that are very helpful once we have with the new operators. I would say start with is one of your best options here. You can go and essentially segregate or search by the different octets in an IP address. So one of the things you can do, and hopefully it's helpful for folks, is put in a range, just the start of the IP addresses, and be able to get everything up to the first 3 octets of an IP address. So do that. If you guys segregate things by subnets, this may be helpful for folks. It is a little bit on the simpler side, but hopefully it adds value to what you guys are trying to do with your devices. So that's roughly all that I had to show on the devices side. So I will turn this back over to Trevor for any questions that folks may have.
Yeah, I'm gonna, Becky just has a time check. Do we have a couple minutes to go through and look at questions, or do we need to move on?
Oh yeah, we're good. In fact, we've got quite a few questions. Let me flip over to the queues. Okay, so let me pop this one up. How do these JumpCloud groups integrate with the groups elsewhere, like Google or Slack? Is that feature possible?
Great question. For both Google and our pre-built integration with Slack, with Skim, we'll be able to push the groups downstream to both of those applications. So our user groups we push down to both of those. So the short answer to your question is yes, we integrate. We push down to both of those. If you have, again, I would very much encourage you to consult our help center, our support.jumpcloud.com, to be able to get all the details that you need on this. And of course, if you have further questions, because sometimes integrating on the group side with downstream applications can be a bit tricky. So if you have questions, reach out to support, but the support doc should be very helpful here. But yes, we do integrate down our apps downstream.
Can I jump in here for a second? So one of the things that I know are capability, you can have dynamic groups in JumpCloud. You can also have dynamic groups in Google. You can also have dynamic groups in Microsoft M365. One recommendation is pick the choice where your source of data lives and don't turn on dynamic groups in both places. We've seen some strange behavior by having dynamic groups on JumpCloud and then having that sync and then having that same dynamic or a different dynamic group in Google. So just one call out there.
Yes, great note.
All righty. This is great. Would also love to be able to reference other group membership status with dynamic groups. Is not member of group.
Yes, nice. Yeah, I love this. Yeah, this will be this will of course be a feature request, but please do put that in if you have not yet as an official preview feature request. And I think I may have seen a link go out, so maybe that's to put in a feature request. If so, that'd be awesome. But
yes.
this really helps us be able to track. And if you're thinking of anything else, if anyone else had ideas come up like this, please put those in as feature requests, because we're right now trying to plan on what comes next with dynamic groups. So we'd love to hear that. But yes, this is the preferred option to nested AD groups. We'd like those to not be nested. We'd like those to be exactly what you're asking for here. This sounds a lot better and a lot more maintainable. So I'd love to hear that. And yeah, please do put that in as a feature request.
Sorry, Nathan, but kind of not sorry, but sorry. Nathan's kind of getting tired of us telling him feature requests, but you have such great ideas, Nathan. So we appreciate you. Really, we do.
I was just going to say, Nathan, this is like a champagne problem. Like, I'm so smart and I have so many great ideas. And I'm just so tired of being so innovative all the time.
But we really do appreciate you. So we're just going to have to set you up with one of our PMs and just let you dump on them. And then we'll get them all at once. All right. Jonathan had a question about printers. Is the group adding fast enough to add a printer based on the LAN IP?
Ooh, okay. Fast enough. I might have to defer to Tim on this one. It is, I would say that from my experience with other alternatives to JumpCloud, from what I've seen, I think we're probably on the quicker side. I know some places will say like up to 24 hours to get the groups in check. You saw me running through and clicking the preview each time. When we're doing that, we're actually running the rules, which is exactly what we do when we hit save. So it's typically going to be pretty fast. Of course, I had a pretty small JumpCloud tenant there with like 20 users, but it's pretty fast. Tim, I don't know if you can offer any additional details there. I won't make any promises that you can't keep, I promise.
For the most part, these rules run in near real time, so a few seconds to get them added. I would ask, is your printer's IP dynamic? So one of the things that we've talked about when we added IP addresses, some of these devices are very ephemeral, and so they have their IP addresses constantly change, and so that will cause a bit of churn on that. If it's a static IP, then it should be pretty quick to get it added to a group automatically.
Awesome. Oh, sorry, I got to get back over to the questions page. Oh, Nathan again. Is there any chance that JumpCloud will be able to pull from available options to allow us to simply select things such as department, et cetera, rather than having to, type them in like you were doing? Because it's a little more error proof if you can kind of look through the options.
Gotcha. So if I'm reading this as like, yeah, so you're wanting to say if you know that you have 5 different departments in your company and be able to click, say, like a drop down of those 5 different departments and click like engineering, product, UX, etc., as opposed to typing them in. That's again, great idea. Please send that in as a feature request. I will say, to give you a little inside baseball, I could maybe hint that this is something we have been talking about doing. So this is right along the lines of some work we're talking about potentially doing. So please put them as a feature request, because again, that really does help us to be able to make the decisions on what should get built next. So yes, there is a chance this could happen, to answer your question.
I wonder if that was while you were typing and showing that you typed it wrong, and it was doing a search and it came up, but it showed that it was smart. So good question there, Nathan. Let's see here.
Canada.
Yeah, Canada. I've done that more than once. Kelly wants to know if dynamic groups can be influenced by directories that are syncing with JumpCloud, and heads up that there's going to be a follow-up question from Charles about expanding on that. Something like, is in the admin's ADOU? But we'll start with Kelly's.
Okay. I think the answer to your question is yes. Directories are syncing with JumpCloud, and since you're saying directories, I'm going to assume you mean an upstream directory. So, for instance, if you you have a SCIM integration upstream of JumpCloud that syncs into JumpCloud in real time, and let's say in your HR information system, so someone was in one cost center and they moved to another cost center because they changed positions. Yes, when that syncs into JumpCloud, that's going to influence their membership in a dynamic group. If you have a rule set up on cost center, they're going to be switched over to another group. So I think the answer to your question is yes, but Kelly, if I misread your question, please let me know.
Okay, and I was looking at the chat. So did you add Charles' answer or not? Sorry, I was trying to make sure I didn't miss any questions.
I don't know if is in the admin. I don't know if I addressed this one. Is in the admin's ADOU. Interesting. It depends on how you're using this information. I can say that on the user group on both sides, but on the user group side, since that's kind of what we're talking about here, it's all about what is on those attributes on the user. So if you can get that information onto an attribute, onto a user, we'll be able to key off of that. If it's outside of those attributes that are on a user, we wouldn't be able to, get insight for our rules to see those. And again, if that's not addressing your question, please let me know.
Great. And let's see, we have an MSP question. Can I create a dynamic group and apply it across multiple tenants? Ooh,
great.
That's a good one.
Yeah, great question. Not yet. That is a fantastic, again, idea. That's not something we can do right now, but I will say this is something that we've been hearing quite a lot. So that's not something we can do right now, but it's something that would be a great capability to have.
You know what to do, Kelly.
Smash that feature request button.
And I have to go back to the comments here for a second, because Kelly said, why do we keep getting a wave of feature requests every Friday afternoon? We should go check that data, because if they do, then kudos to you all, because that is awesome. And we need to make sure that we note that, because we can say direct result of the IT hour, and thank you all very much. Because y'all are doing great. See, Nathan already knows. Suggestion, I know, feature request. But it would be really great when previewing changes to have a column that actually shows the differences. So if a user/device is being added, removed, or staying the same, you could easily see that by scrolling through the list, maybe even color code them.
That is, yes, fantastic idea. That would really help us, when you're making changes to an existing group, to be able to kind of have oh crap, maybe this isn't exactly what I wanted, or this isn't exactly what I wanted, before you actually hit the save button. So yes,
I like that awesome. added, removed, or staying the same. Just a little, like when you're updating something and it highlights what's changing. I think that's really great, because even some content management systems have that. Like, you've got an article and you're comparing the two versions to see what is changing between the two. I think that's that would be really awesome.
Yes.
Thank you for that,
Just
Nathan.
one thing there, if I can just jump in quickly. So we do have the feature of suggestions for groups that are a little bit more sensitive and you don't want to automatically add membership to it, and you want to manage that by seeing the suggestions. We do provide the ability to see who we're going to add and who we're going to remove. And then we do have the attributes available. It doesn't have the color coding that you're asking for the changes, but you can see it why people are getting removed because they don't meet a specific requirement, or why people are added because they are following into that rule. So we have that for the suggestion based or the review based groups. So it's a good feedback on the automated one and whether how we incorporate that there.
Great. All right. Stephen says, right now we can push groups to MS365 security groups. And you talk about having an option for security groups with email address.
Security groups with email. This is a good one. No, I'll say this is one that is new to me, but broken record here. But please give me some more detail on exactly what you'd be looking at here in a feature request, because I'd love to dig into this one more, because it sounds like an interesting one.
All right. And James wants to know, any plans for having nested groups?
Yes, maybe not exactly with nesting, but we are absolutely looking at we were talking about being able to have, if you're a member of one group, you should be a member of a second group. So being able to look at like a member of attribute to drive membership between various groups. So more like a flat structure and less of a nested is what we're looking at right now.
Awesome. All right. Here we go. Any chance to add employee ID attribute?
Yeah. Yes. There is a chance. Yes, a chance. Not something we have right now. Again, I would be very interested to kind of see what your use case is here. I'm assuming that this would be probably more valuable for you now that we have the contains operator and starts with and ends with than it would have been before we had those. So I'd be interested to hear more about your case. But yeah, we're always looking at adding additional attributes to the rules.
Alrighty.
Sorry, I'm just going to quickly interrupt with a tiny time check because we are a little bit over. So if we can do rapid fire answers.
This is the last one. This is the last one. So thank you for that, Urvashi. And last one. Yeah. Go ahead.
Short answer is yes. There's your rapid fire. Yes, they are. Yes. It's all in DI.
All righty. So I will mark that one as done. And then Stephen has a quick comment. An option to use the custom attributes on users would be nice. You know what to do, Stephen.
Yes.
Yes.
If you need a hint, it starts with F and ends with each your requests. Just a tiny hint.
Just a small one. What a great group today. Thank you for all of the many, many questions and comments. Just been absolutely fantastic. Trevor and Tim, we will get you all of these comments over to you so you can review them. But we will be looking. I'm going to go look at the feature request channel and see how many have like popped up during this hour. Yes, a jingle. Is that kind of like maybe to the tune of Lowered Expectations, but a little more upbeat? I'll think about it.
I was thinking of more like a heavy metal, like submit a feature request.
I don't think my voice could handle that. I think it would go out.
Record it.
Okay, because I think it would go out before the end of the hour if we had to do that every single time. Well, thank you all for staying over with us by just a few minutes. Trevor, Tim, wonderful to have you on the show. Hope to see you back again really soon. And Tim, welcome to the Madhouse, and we hope you'll come back again. Hope you enjoyed the way we do things around here. I'll just put it that way. And
Definitely,
yes,
I loved it. I would love to be back.
yeah. And as Kelly says, congrats to surviving your first IT hour, your inaugural one. And thanks, everyone. Happy Friday. And by the way, if any of y'all are moms out there, or if you have a mom and you get along with her, go wish her a happy Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day to the moms. Make sure you go do something nice, or if you have kids and you have a spouse that is a mother, then go do something nice for her. Let her take a day off where she doesn't have to care for the kids. I mean, that's always an excellent gift. Just let her have time on her own. Not
Or
saying
if
that
you
I've
have
ever
a
done
string
that.
of ex-boyfriends that you've soft parented over the years, I should also get a happy Mother's Day for all of my exes that I have raised.
Yes,
Emotionally.
absolutely.
Thank you.
So enjoy the weekend. I hope you have a great one. Hope the weather's great. And we will see you next week. So take care, everyone. Talk to you soon. Bye all.